Hey guys, Robyn, Linn. I am coming at you to share with you a little bit because a lot of people who are popping up on my newsfeed here on Facebook are sharing their links into donations because a lot of my friends are coaches, they're business owners, they sell stuff from physical locations or they work with people. A lot of people are professionals. A lot of people have to go to a job to make their money. Hi, good to see you guys. I know a lot of you rely on your income from different ways, not specifically from generating residual online income month after month, year after year that is scalable through automation. I understand because I've spent the past 8 to 10 years building out systems that I get to leverage and my teams get to leverage to be able to do that. So I understand how challenging it is to be able to tap into generating consistent online income without you having to be physically involved to make the money, but where it's happening effortlessly, but yet where you're still offering insane value, actually where you get to offer even more crazy awesome value. And I came across Russell Brand's podcast on Luminary today. He posted a few hours back with Wim Hof on, I'm watching this on YouTube here. This is my TV in the background, and I want to just share with you a little bit because this clip is illuminating, and I want to share it with you, and then I want to share with you how it relates to generating income online and building an online income for anyone. So I want you to just check this out really fast here. Check this out.
I can sense, I can see, I have seen you, I have experienced you. You're ready. You're ready to go. It's like if your house is on fire, you run fast. You don't think. And the Kilimanjaro is like not thinking, just doing it. It goes step by step. I call the project is called Irrata. That is Masai for step by step. If you just stick your mind to the one step and another step and another step, then you are getting to the top.
So Wim Hof was sharing with Russell Brand that Wim Hof invited Russell to go and climb Mount Kilimanjaro in shorts, which is extreme conditions, reaching up to 5,000 feet in elevation in extreme cold weather, Mount Kilimanjaro, to climb it in one day. And I don't think it's ever been done. And so Wim Hof is saying, oh, we're going to go. There's 32 people and you're ready. And so Wim Hof was sharing with Russell that we want you to come. I know that you're ready. I can see it. I can see that you're ready. You've prepared. And Russell, he was kind of taken back. And then Wim Hof was saying that there is a strategy, there is a technique that he uses a lot of obviously the breath work. If you guys know Wim Hof, he does the breath work. And so what he was sharing in this technique was to go step by step, to take one step at a time, and then the next step, and then the next step. And so Russell Brand comes back with this, and so I'll turn this up for you, and then I'll share with you what he says.
Right, you don't get into the concept. This is very similar to what Eckhart Tolle says, is that even if you are spending the rest of your life in prison, you are not in prison for the rest of your life in this moment. In this moment you are in a room. So I went on a run this morning, as a matter of fact, and during the run I supposed to think, well actually it was a bit better as I was running with my friend Jenny, who I'm doing the podcast with, and because she's faster than me, and may I say probably 15 years younger, I had to run a bit faster, and that took me out of my mind more. It took me out of my mind, and really, I suppose the resistance on a run comes from, oh God, when's this run going to be over? When will this run end? I don't like this feeling. I want this feeling to end. And much of my psychosis and neurosis comes from that kind of thinking. If I could just get into that, this step, now this step, this step, now this step, letting go of the concepts of the future and the memories of the past.
So Russell said he was relating it to an experience, which is what we all want to do, right? To be able to accomplish something, we want to be able to associate our ability to understand what we can accomplish with what we already have experienced. And so we always, this is mental association, right? And so Russell was sharing his mental association. Oh, right. Well, even this morning he was saying, I went on a run and I was oh, I don't want to be on this run. This is hard. When's it going to be over? But then he got out of his head and out of the uncomfortable state of being in the run where he didn't want to be, perhaps. And he had this feeling of, well, wait a minute, this person who's in front of me is running faster, and so maybe I can go faster. Well, one little step at a time, or one giant step at a time, and it got him to the end. Okay, I'm closer to my goal. And so anyone you know who has accomplished success, any goal that they have finished, right? A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of us have not finished what we wanted to start, right? A lot of us start projects because we're creatively inspired and then we never finish it because we get bored, or it's just, oh, this is hard. I want it to feel good. I want to be in the flow. And so being in the flow actually is working through the uncomfortable state, because it's actually just the mind trying to associate with a pattern of, can I do this? This is hard, versus I can do this even if I haven't had an association of the past that I've done it before. How can I relate to this? Because I want to do this, right? I want to move forward. I want to accomplish my goal. I want to create something I haven't created before, which is, and that's where some people get into trouble. So if you've never created an online income before, if you've never had an online business that's succeeded, maybe you've tried online marketing, network marketing, maybe you've tried to generate income online and it hasn't worked for you, so you're like, well, my association with that pattern is that it didn't work, that I'm not able to do it, and so I guess I'm stuck where I am, even though my goals are to generate more income, or to have more freedom with my time, or to not be so physically drained with my clients, or to be able to reach a lot more people internationally, globally. So your goal doesn't have to be to generate crazy amounts of money. Your goal can be simply that you want what it is that you're offering, sharing of value, to reach more people, or that you want to accomplish both. Or maybe you're someone who wants to simply be able to reach a goal that you haven't met before. It's something to challenge yourself, because that's human nature, to be able to work through these challenges of the mind and to accomplish stuff that makes us feel alive. And so it's not really about the money, and that's why those of us who make good, crazy, awesome amounts of money over and over again at a whim, Wim Hof, pun intended, whenever we decide to make crazy amounts of money, it's not because of the money, it's because it's this challenge, it's this growth, it's this new pattern that we're associating within ourselves to expand, right? Because that's the nature of our consciousness, to expand. And we know this. We know that our nature is to want to expand and grow. And we can easily do that by creating simple goals for ourselves, or big goals that allow us to manifest stuff, to be able to see in reality, wow, I did what I said or felt was the thing I wanted to do to expand, right? And so Wim Hof is sharing, well, everybody says that it's impossible to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with the conditions in your human body in one day. However, he's saying you can actually override what is the natural way of the mind, because if you take that one step at a time. But you guys know the challenge when it comes to business and accomplishing your goals that you haven't accomplished yet is that you get caught up in the emotions. Hi guys, you get caught up in the emotional distress of then judging yourself or making a comparison or mental association with the stuff that you failed at, even if it's not relatable to what you're creating next or what you're trying to intend to build next. You're making this mental association with, I actually don't feel like I'm capable of making the next step, even though you actually technically could if you followed that strategy and technique of taking one step at a time. And so that's the key to success. And when you look at the goal that Elon Musk had, or that Russell Brunson had, or Richard Branson had, or any of us had, even myself, when I was building out the system that took me 10 months to build, actually, I didn't know it was going to take me 10 months to build out my system, okay? So I had a financial goal of generating about $130,000, which we actually surpassed that amount. And we didn't even have to advertise. We marketed to our warm market. And my goal was 130K coming in, and we were expecting to pay for ad money. We actually didn't have to because it did so well. But one of the things that I got caught up on along the way, being honest with you guys and with myself, is that I actually thought it was going to take me 3 months to build the system. I thought, okay, I can do all this in 3 months. 3 months, not a big deal. 12 weeks, maybe 16 weeks. But I did not think that it was going to take me 10 months. So after the 3-month period, I wasn't going to give up. It wasn't near complete because I ran into technical issues and skill level stuff that I had to overcome. And this is, again, the example of one step at a time. And so I had to learn how to structure new things with the online systems. I had to build something so robust, and I ran into technical issues that I didn't at all know I was going to run into. And so my goal was still generating the income that I had planned on. And the goal was to accomplish building the system out. And as I was building it, obviously, every day, I kept taking that one step toward my goal. And so at the 3-month mark, right, as the 3-month mark was just like there, it literally seemed like a day had gone by, and it literally seemed like I had to regroup because of all the stuff that I had to learn that I didn't know I was going to have to learn in this business that I was building, this system I was building for automated income generation, so that my teams could leverage everything. So not just me making money off the system, but having this be a leveraged model that other people could duplicate and leverage as well. And so there's this double whammy happening, not just me making the money with the system, but being able to have it also be a leveraged system that's duplicatable. And so there was a lot of complications with the vision, complications meaning a lot of things to consider and to keep in mind as I'm building all of these little steps, okay? And so the 3-month mark hit, and I just kept saying, well, I'm not gonna, I looked back at what I already accomplished, and I said, I'm not going to quit. Absolutely, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna turn my back on this. But I didn't know that it was gonna take me up to 10 months. I had no idea that it was gonna take me another 7 months. Okay. And so what I had discussed with my team was that, okay, my partner Mike and I, we discussed, well, we're going to just do whatever we have to do. And every day you're going to do whatever you got to do to move yourself forward with the vision, and we're going to accomplish it. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. And so when I understood that, because I was so stuck on it, well, I'm going to do this in 3 months, then we're going to launch, then all this money is going to come in, then I'm going to be able to expand and scale and then take the next level, the next step. And so when that didn't happen at the 3-month mark, you had to take the step back. And so I always share this with our students, that you want to actually envision yourself as an astronaut taking a rocket ship off planet Earth and then seeing the planet at a distance. And Ajahn Jeff, my teacher, Thanissaro Bhikkhu, he talks about this in boxing, where you got to step back from the punch or else you'll get knocked out. And so I think about that in boxing. I used to box, and I think about taking that step back. But I really feel like it's important. Hi there. I really feel like it's important to envision yourself on that rocket ship, and you see the whole vision, that entity. This is the goal, the planet Earth, as you're taking the rocket ship as the astronaut off the planet, and you're seeing just this vast amount of space and expansiveness. And then you see the planet Earth. This is your vision, your goal, the thing that you want to accomplish. And you then have this sense of, oh, well, I'm not so consumed by it. I'm not so overwhelmed by it. I'm not so taken by it. It's here. And I can see it as a whole. And I can see now, as I took that step back, I'm not so consumed by it. I'm able to see it as a whole entity, completed as its entirety, right? In its completion. And so when we look at that as entrepreneurs, we look at that as the big vision, we can actually say, oh, okay. So that's a practice in meditation. For those of you guys who meditate, that's a practice of being an observer. We say to stay present in the body and yet be the observer of the one who is meditating, right? And that's the same in business. That's the same being a successful entrepreneur and creating something new and creating a new level of success for yourself that you haven't mastered yet. That's been, in the making. And so rather than giving up, or rather than just giving yourself this negative self-talk because of the past, right? So Russell Brand was sharing in this podcast, he was making this association with, oh yeah, in order to accomplish that thing that I really felt was uncomfortable, I actually just had to take one step at a time. And then he was relating that to what Wim Hof was saying, which is, that's it. If you want to climb a mountain in extreme conditions that people are saying are impossible, you have to take one step at a time. You have to be present and you have to believe you can do it. And you can believe you can do it. Taking that next step, I did it. Taking that next step, I did it. And my teacher, Ajahn, talks about that. He's saying to give yourself positive reinforcements when you accomplish something and you did it and you say, oh, I did it, but not getting caught up in it. Moving forward, one step, next step, right? And so that's the key to success, as Wim Hof was sharing with Russell, and that's the key to success that I was able to tap into. So I did hit my goal, and then I surpassed my 130K that I wanted to bring in, again, without advertising, because I had the attitude of like, well, I'm not giving up. And if I'm having this attitude that it's so hard and that it's so impossible and how can I get through it? And oh my gosh, month after month, it hit up to the 10-month mark. And when I finally finished, I obviously was very excited that I was complete with the vision, with the system that I built. And then when I looked back at the 10 months of building it, I was like, wow, okay, But now I take another step forward in another direction. I'm not doing the same thing with the business, but I move on to the next phase of it. And a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we can get caught up and feel like, well, I don't want to do anything else. And that's being lazy, and that's being disconnected from your vision. If you really want to accomplish that thing you say you do, then you need to look at it in phases and you say, okay, well, no matter how long this takes, I'm going to make sure that I am taking one step at a time, because if I do, I accomplish that step. And then I have that positive reinforcement to take the next step, and then the next, and then it's done. And so I had to, Mike and I talked about this in the building process, hi Claudia, I had to be able to really embody within myself the decision of I am choosing to finish this project. I'm choosing, no matter how horrible it feels inside of me, and no matter how much I have to learn along the way, I have to finish this and I have to do it, no matter how many more months it takes. And that was after reaching the 3 months of like, I thought it would be done by now and I'm nowhere near done, but I'm not giving up. And so that was the turning point. And we all face the turning point. Joseph Campbell, for those of you who know Joseph Campbell, an amazing philosopher and a wonderful human being who's been interviewed. He, if you have seen him on Netflix, Joseph Campbell talks about the hero's journey, and he talks about how Star Wars and E.T. and all of the films are based on the hero's journey. All the great storytelling actually is based on the hero's journey. I have a course on the hero's journey for storytelling for social media impact and engagement inside my branding course, inside of our program that I teach my students. And it's so important to know this when you're communicating your message if you want to get people's attention, because what we're doing here is we're creating this storytelling effect within ourselves, even because we're communicating along this path of creating success within ourselves to be able to then share that with others. That's how you generate income online. You have to first become the one who understands how that works. And so, as Joseph Campbell said, there comes a point, typically at the first third, actually the first fifth of the film, there's friction. There's the hero is not the hero yet, but he or she is faced with a sense of wanting to belong, a sense of belonging. And I feel that we all want, our human nature is to have that sense of belonging. And then when we feel like, wow, I feel like an outcast, I feel like I don't belong, and in this sense of where we're at now, a lot of you may feel like, wow, I don't know what to do. I'm not able to go to work, or the income that I was making isn't stable, or I'm not sure what's going to happen, or how do I generate online income, because it hasn't been something I was able to do before. And so, and when we look at this as like you being the hero in your own journey, this is I wanted to fit in. I wanted to do things the way other people did them. This used to work for me. Now it's not quite working anymore. And you realize, actually, I want to do things differently, or I want to accomplish more than most people, or I want to accomplish something different than what I have so far in my life. I want something new. I want to accomplish something I haven't yet. And I have a new goal, or I have a new vision for my life. And what happens in the hero's journey, in the storytelling process, is you then reach this point in the journey, as Wim Hof was saying, where you're faced with that turnaround. I've come to a point in the journey, and it's the challenge, and it's the internal challenge. Typically, it's the internal emotional, not always a physical one, where we're emotionally challenged. Is this something that I can do, or will do, or choose to do? Is this something I'm deciding that I'm going to do? Because for the most part, if it's an emotional challenge, even if it's a physical one, we can always decide that we're going to figure out a way to make it work, to do it, to accomplish it. And so that's the turning point where we either say, oh wow, for me it was like I hit the 3 months and I could give up now and just walk away and do something easy, or I could just accomplish the goal that I've set out to do and decide that no matter what, I'm going to follow through and I'm going to do it. And I had to, at that point, take one step at a time. And so at the 3-month mark, I didn't know it was going to take another 7 months to build out the system. But the thing that got me through it was, yes, no matter what, I'm going to do it. No matter what, I'm going to follow through. I've decided. So I decided, right? And I attached my emotional state with the decision, which is a direct connection within myself to the thing that I want, okay? And so I plugged in, and then I decided that, well, I don't want to have this be a struggle, and I don't want to have this be something that I'm putting energy into that's negative, because the thing that I'm building, I want it to be positive, and I want it to do good, and I want it to exceed my expectations and reach goals that I've never reached before, and it did. And so in order to accomplish that goal, I had to take that step back, and I had to see the vision and hold that in my mind's eye, and I had to envision the vision as a whole. But yet I also had to stay present and take one step at a time and say, no matter what, I'm just going to keep taking one step every day, one step every day, one step every day, one step. And then when it was complete after 10 months or so, then I was able to really say, wow, next step is a new phase. And now since the accomplishment of what I've built and the time that I put in, that has paid off greatly, it has given me, which it gives all of us, the association in our patterns, as Wim Hof was saying, to be able to now say, I can do it because I took that step that I didn't know if I was going to be able to take, but I decided to take it. I took it, I did it, and now I can do it. I just have to take one step at a time. In the coaching world, this is called chunking up your goals, right? Do you guys know any of that? Chunking up your goals, right? So accomplishing little pieces, little bite sizes. And 2 little examples here. My teacher, he says all the great Ajahns have the story of the rings of the ladder. You can't expect to climb to the very top of the ladder. It's not going to happen. You have to take one ring of the ladder at a time. Or on the monkey bars, you can't just swing to the very end of the monkey bars. You have to take one at a time. And so that's the process of taking one step at a time. And, it is absolutely something that everyone can do. And it's a mental thing and it's an emotional thing. And when those two are in connection, when those two are in symbiosis, right, in harmony, we can find this state of within ourselves that we can do it. We can do anything. We can do anything because we've decided to, and that we've created that momentum, and we're doing it one step at a time. And sometimes what gets most people caught up is that it's usually, sometimes it looks different, or it feels different, or there's like new things, new skills we have to learn along the way that are challenging. And that gets a lot of entrepreneurs caught up. And then they get caught up in that versus just continuing to move forward regardless of what has to be configured along the way. Because sometimes, the human mind can get caught up in challenges and time and financial limitations, if that is something that you guys have experienced. And we can't let that get in the way if you've already decided and you have decided to hit that vision, to nail the vision, to accomplish the thing that you really want to. And so for one, you've got to be clear on what your goal is, on what your vision is, on what it is you want to accomplish. You absolutely have to be clear on that. And then for 2, you decide that that's what you're going to do. And then 3, you do stay present, taking one step at a time while holding the big vision at hand, right? One step at a time, and continuously reminding yourself, oh, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And then realizing that as you're creating this momentum and you're reaching your goals one step at a time, it then takes on a new form, a new phase, a new level, a new layer. And that's where we want to be in the flow. We want to be resilient. We want to be at ease. We want to be willing and agile, because it's not going to look like the way you thought it was going to look. And if that's your mindset, then it is likely possible, likely you're going to fail as an entrepreneur if you are holding on to a belief of what you think it's going to be like, or what you think it's going to look like, or be at all. If you're holding on to a belief system, it's relationships are like that too, right? Relationships are never like what you imagine them to be, or what we write down on paper and what we agree on. It's always the experience of it, and it's always happening a moment at a time, and then being in the flow of things, and the dance, as they say, right? The same thing with your business. So you need to be able to understand that, and when you can understand that, you take a nice breath and have this sense of relief, like, oh, I don't have to have it all figured out. I don't need to know what it's going to look like. I'm creating it now. And if I stay true to my vision and my goal, and if I decide that it's what I'm going to do no matter what, I'm going to do it no matter what. Whether it takes you 3 months, 3 days, 3 hours, or 3 years, or 30 years. If you decide and it's your goal and it's what you want, then that's that. The problem is if you emotionally get caught up, well, I wanted it to take three days. Why is it taking 3 years? Well, that's why it's taking 3 years, because you're emotionally caught up in it. So, hi Carlos, good to see you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So, I highly recommend the Luminary podcast with Russell Brand and Wim Hof. It's phenomenal. I love Wim Hof breathing, and I love the way that we can override our psychosis and neuroses, right? To override the thing in our mind that we're mentally associating with our behaviors and our actions and the way that we engage with the world, to completely override that with breath and with staying present and being mindful in the moment, and then creating a new level of decision within ourselves to create a new belief system that never existed before to accomplish anything that we decide to. This is possible. It's not magic, it's alchemy, but it's not anything special. It's actually very simple. So I love you guys. Happiness. If you learn, I share this with my clients, if you can have joy in the process of building your business and your income, you're just going to attract to you happiness. If you're trying to build your business or your income and you're approaching it from like this horrible attitude, you can't enter into happiness and joy from despair, negativity, and pessimism. Doesn't happen. So you've got to approach it with a sense of wonder, just like Alice in Wonderland, curiouser and curiouser, and with the assumption of you can do it. I can do it. And if you don't believe you can do it, then you can't do it. So that's the simplicity of it, guys. I will check in with you soon. If you have any questions, share with me. I'm going to, in the post, in the around the video, I will put a link into the system that I'm sharing with you guys. I'll put a link for you guys to check it out. The thing that I was building for 10 months that my clients get to leverage as well. So, guys, I am really excited to share more with you about leveraging the system, online income, residual income, ongoing, month after month, year after year, and to really enjoy your life, to enjoy your time, and to be able to really accomplish the things that you want to, and to have the time freedom and not be so caught up with clients or your business or selling things or having to make money, but to have something that's automated for you to free up all of your time and energy to be able to really focus in on the things that are important to you. All right, guys, Robyn, Linn, I'll see you soon. Ciao for now.